Hi everyone, I wanna talk about whatever, and today this whatever is the United States of America. How this country became the first leading nation will gonna make history a little bit. Because America is a nation with a little history but so intense. A nation where making war outside is completely normal. A giant democracy with multiple big breaches within and lots of contradictions, like every country of course. But this giant has so many defaults at a point another giant will take the advantages, China. This is the subject for another video, but for now, let's begin in America. Historical context. This giant country in every meaning of this term has a shorter history than in Europe, but here we underestimate the importance of their own history founders myth. Every civilization has a founders myth, and in the USA it's particularly visible in the Rushmore month. The founders' fathers' faces of the United States of America are sculpted directly on the Black Hills between 1927 to 1941. This country since the beginning has been attached to freedom. Freedom speech, freedom trade, freedom guns, black slavery, and obviously contradictions. For making the rupture since the independence, America has a president instead of a king, elected every 4 years in one tour. America has a parliament, the Congress and the Senate, and for the justice, the Supreme Court. It's more or less independent, even if I think it's a little joke. Why did Americans become independent? For many reasons. First, they didn't want to be taxed by the Britannic crown. Second, they want their own recognition of themselves, not being only Britannic's bastard child without any right. Third, they wanted some lands, where it has been attributed to indigenous by the crown. Actually, for Americans, it's like being present in their own country. It's like it wasn't their own country. They decided it was enough, and they marked a cessation with the English crown. The war ended after 8 years with the official birth of the United States of America, with the first president, George Washington, and a city named Washington as capital. From this independence, America began with 13 colonies, the 13 first states, and Louisiana was sold by the French Prime Consul Napoleon Bonaparte 20 years after. The nation of war and capitalism. During the 19th century, America expanded itself with wars. Wars against Mexicans, against Native Americans, against Spanish, and even against themselves. This is how America became the great nation of war. It's in its DNA. War built America, and into its constitution with the Second Amendment, Americans are armed. Why? Because before the Constitution of America, army and police didn't exist. It was the militias or British army who pacified the rioters. And before creating the US Army, people deserved to be protect themselves. That's why the Second Amendment exists. And because Americans were pioneers of exploration, they needed arms to hunt or kill threats. They went from east to west, they discovered this giant territory, and it wasn't a peaceful journey. And because autochthones didn't want to be colonized, be enslaved or killed, they defended themselves with all legitimacy. And yes, Americans created a genocide, but it's not the subject of this video. Because war is needed by Americans, they need guns, arms, and accessories. And liberalism created what they need for being more efficient in their wars. What are Winchester, Remington, Smith & Wesson, Colt? Not only guns, but companies. They created better guns in the free market of war in the first centuries of the USA. Capitalism and war are intimates. Winning money by selling guns is one of the biggest markets ever, and that continues in the 21st century. How many profits did Lockheed Martin make during the war in Iraq or Afghanistan? And what about Raytheon Tech? Not the same weapons, but the same purposes. America integrated how war could be profitable by private companies but also the US government itself. How many markets could this country reach if it wins wars? In the 20th century, America won the First and the Second World Wars and even the Cold War against the Soviet Union. For being really effective, Americans need enemies. That's how this nation is functioning, and after the war Europe needed to be reconstructed, and of course with the help of the Uncle Sam, they get globalized. Except for communist, globalization was the mechanic of trade and also the financiarization. Agglomerates profits, companies, how knowing fluidificates commerce, exchanges and importations. And with that, America could win secondly another war, the war of markets. Financial imperialism. For what reasons did Americans go to war in Vietnam? Not only to impeach communism to expand, but also to reach another profitable market and get more control in Southeastern Asia. For what reason did Americans make war against Afghanistan? Okay, Osama bin Laden. But most importantly, look at the borders. This country has so many interesting borders to control Central Asia and Iraq. Obviously for oil, but everyone knows now. And of course, America doesn't hesitate to lie conscientiously. If a country exists with a great market, US companies want to reach it by every means. By the hard power of military and even with the soft power. It's something really interesting when imagination and communication is a weapon of crowd control, probably more efficient than tyranny. Since the Dark Ages called the Middle Age, people trusted in the Bible. Oh wait, like in the Republican Party. And religion was the motto of civilization. That's a thing I truly agree with Karl Marx. Religion is the opium of the people. But now when religion has been replaced, something else took the place. In Russia it was communism, in the USA it was Avengers and Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse! Mickey Mouse! Okay, it's quite caricatural, but from the beginning mankind used to tell stories, like the ancient Romans and Greeks with some gods and powerness. And every time a knowledge could be learned, like this was a pretty great cheater. After centuries and millenaries, the way we tell a story has not completely changed. Like in Star Wars, every time this book is mentioned, the hero with 1,000 faces, the initiatic quest of a hero. When he starts his long story with friends, mentors and most importantly a nemesis, like in Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings and of course Spider-Man.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Entertainment is probably more efficient to teach values, and Hollywood is a great story. When cinema was created, movies for entertaining were made too, and with technical progress we could learn how to create more fantastic, dramatic or violent thing on the screen. When your life sucks, you can live another life by proxy. But when the access to story is now everywhere, look at Netflix, Disney+, Prime Video, you can entertain yourself at home, at work, on the waters. I'm sure you're watching this video with a smartphone when you're pooping. The American soft power is the leader because in its history it was one of the first. But most importantly, it was improved by the mechanic of liberalism. Look at the first Disney movie, Snow White. How beautiful was it at this period? How gorgeous were the animations? Technical improvement creating a better way to create and minimize the cost of productions and of course the quality of image. With that, Americans could transmit their own values to the world, the story of their success, how cool and badass America is. Here I'm talking about cinema, but with cinema series were created for TV's network, it was really smart to sell ads between cuts and the show for maximizing profits. And of course, what great series we could get with the serial format. Just how is it possible to tell a story like Breaking Bad in just 2 hours? But what the best part? The globalization and cost reduction of production has created something really amazing, homemade stuff like YouTube videos. Everyone can produce content and post it. With ads, people made money and could improve their videos like any great YouTubers. Look at the first and the last videos of any creator with 1 million subscribers and you can see the mechanical improvement. Look how many videos some creators do each week. They are complete entrepreneurs managing a staff production and how they are professionals. It's a standardization and knowledge you can get more easier with internet access. But the American soft power is not only with movies, series and YouTube videos, it also comes with more interactive contents, video games. And how could we pass from this to this? Video games surpassed Hollywood in income since 2010, and even video games had technical improvements, and we can feel it more because of the graphics. Yeah, Doom is probably the best game for showing this improvement. And yes, you can also play PUBG on mobile on toilets, hopefully not Fortnite anymore. The gigantism of the American soft power has a great value because it's done by private companies, not by the government. And the fact is, even you can take part of this. American Dream. Because America was wild and pioneers took place there, they were free to create their own stuff, their own companies for profit. With the help of science, people improve technicity of their own creations. It's within the American culture. If no one does it, if it's profitable, do it first and sell it with your company. Okay, it's within English culture too, with Adam Smith, but English are so precious with their English accent and Adam Smith was Scottish. But there is something more interesting. What are the most profitable companies right now? The GAFAMs: Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and you can also add Netflix now. Those companies have been built just recently in current history. They are making profits with services and not only industry. This 21st century is synonymous with selling data, softwares and not only hardwares. Apple, the oldest GAFAM, began with computers, but directly after Steve Jobs, there were Bill Gates who created Microsoft and just stole the software for implanting Windows everywhere. Bill Gates were richer than Jobs just because Windows could be installed on any computer. This was the best idea. Do not care about hardware because without softwares it's just a useless brick. Facebook directly targeted ads for people with its social network, just like Google with its research engine. Amazon just sold whatever for anyone anywhere. It took decades for Apple to understand how important profits could be earned with virtual applications, just by music with iTunes and apps with App Store. Like Google with Android, and Google took the place of Apple's most competitor. Apple still wants to control its hardware and the ecosystem for quality of experience. Google took the place of the universal software for any smartphones with same apps. And for gaming now, Microsoft took the rest with any games editor. Acquired Blizzard, Activision, Bethesda and has the Xbox Game Pass. In just 20 years, these companies created in a garage in Silicon Valley became the most powerful companies ever. How a startup became an empire? Just because it was created at a good time in a good place, and the companies changed in function of how the markets were. Not only a single market but multiples. Get an idea, create a business model, be more efficient, reduce costs and find other way to earn money. That's not that simple in reality, but we can summarize the story of an economic empire in the 21st century. Conclusion. America took place with a great continent with some resources, took advantages with competitions, wars and business. Capitalism and war are linked in America's history, but liberalism is for peaceful time. When GIs are gone, companies are coming. Markets are built, sharing and commerce is the new norm. Expanding America's way of life is the purpose of the American government. American soft power uses movies, series, video games and business. It's a complex empire we need to understand. It's a great commerce partner but also a competitor. It's not a real ally because this ally could use everything he has in its capacity to own you. Don't underestimate it and don't think they will be gentle. It's the end of the video. Thank you for watching it. Comment, share, subscribe and see you the next time for the next video. Flash out.